Story 2. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm 23, female, and have been with my boyfriend, 23, male, for almost 5 years. Our relationship has had its ups and downs. Like many long-term relationships, we've broken up and gotten back together a few times. But despite everything, I've always loved him deeply. He's someone who knows me inside out, makes me laugh, comforts me, and feels like home. But there's another side to our story. About 3 years ago, during a break I initiated, I found out he had been talking to other women. It hurt, but since we were technically on a break, I decided to forgive him. One of those women remained in his life even after we got back together. They were just friends, but I wasn't comfortable with it. After a year and many arguments, he eventually blocked her when I told him how I felt. Later, I found a message he sent to one of his friends where he talked about imagining that girl's chest. That broke me. We had another fight, but once again, I chose to stay. 2 years ago, I discovered he had a Reddit account where he posted about his intimate fantasies. At first, I actually thought it was a good sign. Maybe he was finally opening up in that area. Out of curiosity and insecurity, I messaged him anonymously from a fake account, just to see how he'd respond. To my shock, he started engaging in explicit messaging with me, not knowing it was me the whole time. When I confronted him, he apologized and said he'd stop. I believed him. But a few months ago, I discovered he was in chats with other men where they shared photos of their girlfriends. He claimed none of the pictures were revealing, just a photo of me in a bra. That didn't make me feel any better. I felt betrayed. Again. And then I found more explicit messages. I blocked him for a couple of weeks, but I went back because I couldn't imagine my life without him. To be fair, in many ways, he has been a loving and supportive partner. He's been there for me during tough times, treated me like family, and when we're together, there's a certain peace in our silence. It's real. It's comforting. But today, everything feels different. I found old messages from 3 years ago, explicit messaging with another woman. When I confronted him, he told me I should have brought this up earlier. He said he's tired of me looking for reasons to fight. He reminded me that for the past 3 months, he's been on his best behavior and that I'm always ignoring the good things he does. He told me to leave me alone and that I'm obsessed with the past. He claims he loses control when he's feeling certain urges, but that he's trying to work on it. And here I am wondering, is he really trying to change, or does he just feel guilty because he got caught? I still love him so much. He makes me laugh like no one else. I can truly be myself around him. We have beautiful memories and a connection that feels rare. The thought of leaving him terrifies me. I know it would shatter me. But I also know this. If I stay, I may keep losing pieces of myself. I'm caught between love and self-respect, and I honestly don't know what to choose. Story 2. My boyfriend, 38, male, and I, 36, female, have hit a wall in our relationship. We've been together for a little over a year. Things were good until he started to change. My intuition kept telling me something wasn't right, so I went looking and can't believe what I found. Everything from the beginning of our relationship was a lie. He told me he stayed single for a couple of years and wasn't being intimate to work on himself, said he was in counseling, and so on. Come to find out, he was dating other women the entire time, being intimate with 3 of us. That alone flipped my world upside down. I asked about partners and health testing, only to be lied to and put at risk. All he could say was that he really wanted to be with me and didn't put me at risk because he's not a reckless person. He claimed he used the women for money and that was it. I found messages of him still talking to women, even escorts. When confronted, he decided to come clean and told me he conversed with other women because it made him feel good, but he never was intimate with anyone else. I found out he had another phone, which I had asked about before. Now he has relapsed on drinking and is currently in treatment. He blames everything on how he grew up, saying it's normal for him. While in treatment, he has picked fights because I won't just sit at home while he's there. I was at dinner with my grandparents, and he told me I wouldn't understand and to just pack all his belongings for him. I just don't know what to do. Can people change? Is this even worth fighting for at this point? Story 3. My wife, 34, is being unfaithful to me, 35, with her friend's son, 21. I discovered that my wife has been intimate with her best friend's son, and she was honest about it when confronted. My wife was born and raised in Colombia, where she grew up with her best friend Maria, who was a single mom in her early teens. When my wife moved to the USA in 2018, she hadn't returned to Colombia until 2024. After we got married, we discussed our pasts, preferences, and experiences. She shared that in her early and late 20s, she often dated older men, sometimes those who were married. She was open about her many surprising stories, and I didn't judge her because that was her past. She also mentioned a time when Carlos, her friend's son, in his mid-teens, was an overly forward teenager who repeatedly expressed inappropriate interest in her. She found it disrespectful and told his mother, Maria, about his behavior. She was clearly not interested in an immature teenager. That changed when she revisited Colombia in 2024. Since I don't speak Spanish or closely monitor her phone, she wasn't concerned about deleting her messages, which were written in Spanish. I'm not saying I never looked at her phone, I did occasionally, but it was brief and not driven by suspicion of infidelity. I might check it in front of her while she was showering, doing dishes, or otherwise occupied. If I scrolled back to 2013, I could see messages with her ex or people she flirted with. It didn't bother me, though I think such messages should probably be deleted when you're dating or married to someone else. Those didn't seem to affect our marriage. Out of curiosity, I checked her blocked accounts to see who might have been bothering her with replies to her stories or similar interactions. Then I looked at her restricted accounts and found Carlos. I translated their messages, and it became clear she was being intimate with him during her visit. Story 4. 1 year after breakup update. Honestly, life has only gotten harder for me. Today would have been our 7-year anniversary, and in a couple of weeks, it will mark 1 year since she ended our relationship. She was unfaithful and left me just weeks after we celebrated our 6-year anniversary. To summarize, she was always distant and disengaged. I was putting in most of the effort in the relationship. I cooked for us every day, did the majority of the cleaning, planned our dates, and cared for her cat more than she did. Over time, she withdrew from the relationship and became consumed with a particular MMORPG. The more I tried to express that I was exhausted from contributing 90% of the effort, the more she pulled away. She became close with a guy in her gaming guild who clearly disrespected our relationship. My ex engaged in an emotional affair because it was easier and made her feel good. I was willing to move past it since it was only emotional, and I made it clear that I wasn't trying to control her but that this friendship made me deeply uncomfortable. She continued to delay, and I believe it shouldn't take 3 days of conversations to decide who matters more, a boyfriend of 6 years who lives with you and supports you, or a stranger known for a month through an online game. After waiting 3 days for her to act, I set a firm boundary, saying it was either him or me. She didn't respond well, accusing me of cornering her and claiming it was unfair to make her choose. She said she was leaving because she was no longer happy in the relationship and that it had nothing to do with this other person. Shortly after ending things, she began dating the guy, which wasn't surprising. She was unfaithful and left me for someone she barely knew for a month through an online game. To make matters worse, she essentially forced me out of the home I had been maintaining for us, as I couldn't afford both our shares of the rent, but she could with her trust fund. I had no choice and was pushed out of my own home. 1 year update. Life has only gotten harder. For a few months, I was without a stable place to live while trying to find somewhere to stay. I eventually found a room for rent in my area, but the housemates are difficult, and there's no proper heating, which was tough during the winter. It was the only affordable place I could find. Then my car started having issues, costing all my savings and putting me thousands of dollars into credit card debt. I went through a severe mental health crisis and was admitted to the hospital and a psychiatric unit. There, I realized I lack true friends or a support network. This is my life now, feeling alone and down every day. I've tried dating again, but dating apps have been disheartening. I've been ignored or stood up 6 times so far. All I do is work and try to pay off this credit card debt, hoping my car doesn't break down again. Living in this room constantly reminds me of the home I lost. I'm struggling to find hope. When I confronted her, she was honest and said it was a moment of weakness. She explained that when she saw him after many years, she found him very attractive and recalled his past advances. Their encounter lasted 2 weeks. She made it clear she has no interest in dating him, but she was upfront about him treating her well and being physically appealing. She also said he has no serious interest in her either. Based on the messages and her confession, she enjoyed the experience. She described it as a temporary escape from reality, feeling cared for by a young, fit man. Story 6. My ex, who was unfaithful, wants to be intimate with me again. I dated this guy for 2 years. About halfway through, he started being intimate with his best friend's former girlfriend. I found out, and I'll be honest, I struggled with low self-esteem at the time. So, I decided to give him a second chance. I finally built up enough confidence when I discovered he was being intimate with her again, and I ended the relationship. Shortly after our breakup, she was practically living with him. Fast forward a year later, I received a text from him claiming I was the best partner he'd ever had and that she wasn't meeting his expectations. Now, he wants to be unfaithful to her with me. To toy with him, I pretended to go along with it so I could take screenshots of our texts and send them to her. Unfortunately, I couldn't find her accounts because she blocked me. But I'd be willing to share her name and the screenshots with someone who could pass them along to her. Story 7. Very confusing situation. Hi guys, so last week I stumbled upon the girl he cheated on me with, and I let her know and warned her YK nothing much. We ended up having an 1.5-hour long call together, and her friends were in the call too, and they were all very upset for me and very understanding and sweet. I got the impression of her wanting to end things with him since they were making plans of revenge on call. She's still seeing him? I'm so damn confused. What could have made her do a 180 after he lied to her as well and knowing he's a cheater? Just so confused. RN loudly crying face like girl stand up maybe? He might be attractive but girl. Story 8. My story of being unfaithful and trying to rebuild our relationship. I'll never forget the look on her face when she found out. It wasn't just anger, it was heartbreak and confusion. In that moment, I realized I had done something irreversible, something I never intended to do. It pained me deeply to see her hurting. I didn't just betray her, I shattered something sacred, her trust, and the way she saw me, which was essential for our relationship. Honestly, I know I've made serious mistakes. She didn't cry right away, but when she did, it felt like a part of me broke. I wanted to cry too, but I feared she'd think I was being manipulative. Looking back, I should have shown my true emotions, because what followed was overwhelming guilt. It hit me every day when I was alone with my thoughts. She had always been there for me, keeping my mind from spiraling into overthinking or negativity, but now she was gone, and I was left wondering how badly I hurt her, how she was coping, and how I could make it right. It sounds absurd now, but I even searched online for ways to erase her memories of my actions, like finding traditional healers. I wanted to vanish along with the pain I caused her. I didn't blame her for pulling away. She had every right to after I kept making things worse, thinking I was fixing the damage. I tried distractions like talking to others, but my heart wasn't in it. I realized I was just becoming more of the person I wanted to escape by seeking out more connections instead of facing myself, learning to be alone, and ensuring I'd never repeat that mistake. I tried to stay in touch and win her back. She said she still loved me, but love alone wasn't enough after what I did. I poured every ounce of emotion and persuasive words into reassuring her that things would be different, promising she could have any form of reassurance she needed. She gave me another chance, but with conditions, and I accepted them all without hesitation. When you truly regret something, you don't argue, you commit. If you know you were wrong and the person you love didn't deserve that betrayal, you do whatever it takes to make it right. She asked for transparency, and I offered my phone passwords, location, and logins. She wanted to know who I was talking to, where I was, and what I was doing. To me, it felt fair, though probably still not enough. I knew I'd need to explain myself often, and despite disliking confrontation, I was ready. I had crossed a line, and now I had to rebuild what I broke. I gave her full access, not to be monitored, but to ensure she didn't feel alone in her pain. If transparency could bring her even a little peace, I'd give her everything. But I knew trust wouldn't return with passwords alone. It requires consistency, honesty, and time. I'm growing and trying, but I underestimated how heavy guilt feels, along with the overthinking. Even on days when we're laughing, I remember what I did. When she smiles, I wonder if she's truly happy or just pretending. When she's on her phone for too long, I question if she's reading something about me or if something reminds her of my betrayal. It's challenging to stay strong and rebuild trust when progress feels fleeting, and optimism is overshadowed by the fear that I'm not doing enough. At the same time, expecting her to move on quickly feels selfish. When she's quiet, I worry she's tired of trying or might say she can't continue. Sometimes my worst fears creep in. What if she betrays me to feel even? That's where I am now. My instincts, which I've always trusted, are telling me something upsetting is happening behind my back. I've noticed clues and evidence, but I'm scared to pursue them because I know I'd be a hypocrite if I couldn't forgive her. Then the shame returns because this fear and paranoia are what I caused her first. Loving her now is different. It's about patience, showing up when she needs me and giving her space when she doesn't. It's about proving every day that I'm not the man who hurt her. Sometimes she's distant, sometimes she brings it up. When she does, I remind myself it's not about punishment, it's her healing process. Still, I'm human, and it hurts when it gets to me. There are good days, though, that give me hope. I never expected to feel so much fear after being forgiven. She doesn't know and might not understand, but I've recently started experiencing palpitations, and my anxiety has returned, prompting me to book a doctor's appointment. The fear of losing her is always there, whispering that she might leave one day, that no matter how much I change, she'll never forget. Right now, my mind is my enemy, and after relying on my instincts for so long, I don't know what to do. Some days, I'm more terrified of losing her than I was before my betrayal, because now I've seen what I almost lost, and it's overwhelming. Maybe I deserve to live with that fear. It keeps me accountable. Change is hard. You have to examine yourself to ensure you never hurt someone again. It's tough at first. It forces you to confront the real you, not the version you present, but the one that hurt someone you love. I've been there, and I dislike that version of myself. Those who deeply love someone will understand, but you might wonder how you can love someone so much and still hurt them. I don't have the answer, and I don't want to dwell on it. The truth is, I love her, and I've changed. I've chosen to be better. I don't flirt, I don't hide my phone, and I don't chase temptation, not because I'm being watched, but because I've become the man who doesn't want to betray the woman he loves. To those who were unfaithful, if you regret your actions deeply and honestly, know this. Redemption is possible, but it's challenging. You're not the victim, but you're not worthless either. You'll cry, beg, and question yourself daily. You'll be tempted to give up when it feels like your efforts aren't enough. But keep going. Keep loving and proving you're not just words. Real love is about actions, not just feelings. If you've been given a second chance, don't waste it. Live like you're earning it every day. Story 9. Caught him on a dating app. My boyfriend and I went on vacation to visit my family, but I planned to stay longer with them for 2 more weeks while he returned home on the 13th. Not even 2 days later, I had a gut feeling and stayed up late. Somehow, I accessed his email and discovered a Tinder subscription. I created an account and, unsurprisingly, found him active on the app. I'm currently in a different state with my family, pregnant with our first child together, while he's back where we live. I don't know what to do. He's threatening that if I tell his family, he'll go out drinking and act recklessly. He also said that if I stay with my family, I'll have to start working, which I can't do with our 4-month-old. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. All my belongings are with him, and it's a 1-day drive to get there. It's overwhelming, and I need to retrieve my things. This feels so chaotic. I'm devastated. He saw me go through so much with our daughter, and he still did this. Story 10. My ex was unfaithful with his coworker, a clothing store manager. It's such a common scenario, workplace infidelity, and yet I'm completely shocked it happened to me. My ex is a building operator, managing maintenance requests for an office building and scheduling contractors. I was 34, female, and he was 32, male, at the time. We were facing issues in our relationship because he wanted to go out every weekend, drinking heavily and gambling his money away. I wasn't okay with that, naturally, and began setting boundaries. Around that time, he started spending a lot of time with his coworker, a clothing store manager in his building. He always described it as a work hangout, but it gradually became more suspicious. He would stay over at her place behind my back and lie about his whereabouts. It escalated to him taking trips out of town with her while falsely claiming he was at home with his family. Our relationship fell apart, and right around the time we broke up, he booked an all-inclusive vacation with her to Jamaica. He lied again, saying he was going alone, but I no longer trusted anything he said and discovered he was there with her. We had been together for 2 years. Imagine ending a relationship and booking a vacation with someone else right around that time. He likely planned the trip while we were still together. This confirmed he had been romantically involved with her for many months. I confronted him about his infidelity, and this is where it gets infuriating. He blocked me everywhere and refused to discuss it. He denied being unfaithful and moved on with her as if I never existed. The warning signs were there, but I trusted him. His level of deception was extraordinary. I've learned my lesson and am much wiser now. I've also gained a deep understanding of narcissism. Story 11. Discovered my girlfriend's infidelity in a devastating way. When I met my ex, she was 36 and I was 43. She had no children but deeply wanted to become a mother. She always held high standards, strong morals, and admirable values. I shared my greatest fear with her, having a child at this stage of my life and then facing a breakup. I didn't want to be a single father to a young child in my mid-40s. She assured me we would always work through challenges and raise our child together. We had a successful first attempt at IVF, and 9 months later, our daughter was born. Shortly after our daughter's first birthday, my ex wanted to end our relationship. I was heartbroken. Then, I learned in a devastating way, through photos and a short video sent to me, that she was being intimate with another man in our car. It was shattering. To make matters worse, this man was a 5-time convicted felon and a known low-level drug dealer with a history of domestic violence. He has 5 children with 4 different women, a lifestyle my ex had always criticized. Her parents and I were stunned and devastated that she would become involved with someone of such character. My ex has displayed a pattern of questionable judgment and concerning behaviors when around this man. He is currently serving a 5-year federal prison sentence for a conviction related to possessing a loaded firearm in connection with a crime. If my ex attempts to have him live in the same home as my daughter, I plan to petition the court to prevent any interaction between him and my daughter, citing my ex's pattern of poor judgment and behaviors that compromise my daughter's well-being.